Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today let's have a look into the Phoenix update 214 once more. So in yesterday's video on my traffic pattern I encountered a couple issues which I got a little bit of feedback on that I want to incorporate into this video. So let's start with the obvious thing, and that is the flare. So I did write a couple of emails with Amir, and Phoenix have also commented underneath the video, so let's have a look into that comment. And Phoenix just said over there, worth a mention here, but you demonstrated exactly what flare mode is meant to do. It does not put in a predefined amount of elevator nose down, it is dynamic. In this video you approached with 1 degree attitude at 50 feet. The snapshot is taken and then used to work out the nose down input at 30 feet. It calculates this based on the delta between snapshot pitch and the target of -2 degrees attitude, achieved over a time period of 8 seconds. The delta is 3 degrees over 8 seconds, that works out to 0.375 degrees per second of nose down input, which is nearly next to nothing. Airbus built it this way so that when a flat approach does not create a situation where the nose down input is overpowering or causes the aircraft to land on its nose. With a 6 degree snapshot pitch it will be 1 degree per second, so stronger. Not sure how it works on 330, but I'm aware that the flare law is different there. Indeed it is. So let's quickly comment on the things that have been stated above. I also wrote a couple of emails back and forth with Amir, and he said that the official line is basically that they're aware that the pitch is not ideal at the moment, especially with flaps 3, but with block 2 and the external engine model they will have much more control over these sort of things and will be rectifying the issue. The dynamic calculation of flare mode will then, on its own, as it is coded correctly at the moment, input more nose down to compensate for the increase in approach pitch. Alright, so that does sound logical indeed. So I have to do a minor correction on what I said yesterday based on the flare law. I said the flare law would be wrong. Now, indeed it isn't, but the flare law is correct, but has been lured into a reaction that you would not expect based on the incorrect pitch attitude from the flap 3 landing I choose. Now, on there, apparently it was a little bit unfortunate that I went for a flap 3 landing, because if I had chosen flaps full, it would have been better, everyone said. So that is what we're going to do in this video. We'll do basically the same thing again, and this time come in for a flap full landing to see what it looks like. Also, another comment that I got from EasyJet SimPilot over there, and he's not sure if the 330 behaves differently. It does. But the 320, when you pull speed, will not target the next characteristic speed, it will set the speed you were currently at. Okay, so that's what happened in the traffic pattern there. When I pulled the speed knob, I expected it to go to the next characteristic speed. Characteristic speed in the Airbus is the green dot, F speed, S speed, and so on. So that's how it works on the 330s I fly. Apparently it is different in the 320s. Which gets me wondering if it is actually a difference between the types, so between the 330 and the 320, or if it might simply be a difference in the software version installed on the aircraft. Maybe my company got a different, maybe a not so common airline option there. Alright, so with all of that in mind, I would say we do another traffic pattern to see how things are going to work out. This time we are going to do a flaps full landing to see if things are going to be any different. Right then, park brake released, take off. Man flag 65, SS runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. .100 knots, checked. V1, rotate. So let's rotate a little bit slower this time. Positive climb, gear up. Nav, checked. Alright, so we'll go straight ahead, and this time we'll fly the traffic pattern a little bit different, with the input from EasyJet SimPilot as well there. Okay, so 1000 AGL, Thrust climb, auto thrust. Flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. Okay, pull S speed. That's like 190 roundabout. Okay, speed Alt star. Alt. Okay, flight director's off, bird on. Then let's go right into the pattern. Okay, so activate approach phase. Manage speed. So that's our plan setting. Config full. The wind is calm. It is actually variable at 2 knots. Temperature 26, QNH 1013, and that is our plan. Let's also quickly tidy this one up. Here we go. Alright, cool. With that, we are pretty much prepared for the pattern. So in downwind, we're looking for a deflection from the runway for about 2.5 miles. That should give us a nice little base later on. And I do see a little bit of headwind here on downwind. That means we'll probably have a tiny tailwind on the arrival, but it shouldn't be too bad. On the ground, it's variable at 2 knots, so either way is going to work, whether we land in this direction or into the other. Alright, so we're downwind. Down there is our landing runway. We're at Palermo Airport, by the way. Lima India Charlie Juliet from Jetstream Designs. Really cool scenery. Absolutely recommendable. Okay, so the runway goes through about the 2.5 degree marker. Oh, sorry, the 2.5 mile marker, obviously. So that is exactly as it should be. So we should be in for a nice little traffic pattern in a moment. Okay, that's our landing runway threshold. Now, some people would go ahead and set a radial in there to mark the beam position, but we're flying a visual approach, so for that reason, we simply look outside the window and determine the timing like that. Makes our life easier as well. Okay, we're at the beam position now. Timing. So someone's asked me earlier if I just determined those 45 seconds on a random basis or not. No, I don't. It's 3 seconds per 100 feet above field elevation. So we're flying 1,500 above field elevation. That means we are using 45 seconds then. Okay, 10 seconds prior to base, we are going to extend flaps 2. 3, 2, 1. Now, flaps 2. Okay, and then we're almost at 45 seconds. We are now. Okay, so what are we expecting then? Well, with the pitch being a little bit higher right now, or rather, with the pitch being a little bit higher on final this time, we are expecting to need a smooth, continuous... Yeah, don't complain, please. We're expecting a smooth and continuous stick input in order to get the airplane to flare nicely. As Amir wrote, it increases over a period of 8 seconds, so we do expect the input to become slightly stronger as we approach. Okay, gear down, flaps 3. Now comes the challenge of seeing the puppy. I do believe it is 3 whites right now. Okay, let's turn final. Flaps full. Okay, we're right onto the puppy. So let's take 700 feet a minute rate of descent.
1,000.
Oh, I badly overshot here. We can do better than that. One of the differences between real life and flight simulator. In real life, it's so easy just to look outside and then quickly glance back at your instruments, look outside again. In simulator, I find that to be quite hard. Okay, here we are established again. So now we've got a headwind.
500.
Alright, so we're established. Slightly high on the puppy, but I'm not going to correct overly on final, because going through the 50-foot gate where the plane takes the snapshot, we really want to be sure that our pitch is more or less correct. So this looks quite okay to me now.
100.
Let's pitch up just a bit more. Okay.
40. 30.
So now let's pitch back slowly. Okay, I let go of my stick right now.
10.
Yet,
5.
I don't know, either I pitch back a little bit too much. Let's try that once again. Oh, don't rotate, my friend. Stay down. Okay. Mantoga, SRS Gore on track, auto thrust blue. The config warning is normal. Don't worry about that. Okay, rotate. Right, climbs assured, flaps 3. Positive climb, gear up. So that master warning, that was totally normal when you do touch and go like this, with the flaps still in the full position. Okay, let's climb it straight up to the target altitude this time. Okay, alt star. Speed, flaps 1. And I'm leaving the flight director now. This is where a second pilot would come in really handy. Okay then, flight director off. Bird on, set runway track. Which is over here, like 245 or so. Okay, so let's give that one more try. We'll do another flap full landing. I had the feeling the pitch was still a little bit low. Like, I would expect a bit more from the 320, in the region like 2.5, 3 degrees or so. While I'm on the downwind, I'll quickly take out the quick reference handbooks and see if I can find a target pitch that we should have. In the 330 it would be like 3.5, 4 degrees, but we're not on a 330 here. Okay, run downwind. So I will very quickly head over to the QRH for the A320. So, unreliable speed indication. What do we have in there? Okay, we only have data for config 3 approach in there, so that doesn't count. Okay, well, but I do seem to remember it should be 2.5, 3 degrees of pitch, something like that, in order to achieve a normal approach. So, again, if we are getting slightly less than that, then it is expected that the plane doesn't, well, recover the force on the stick as strongly, but let's give this another try. Okay, so flap plan is sequenced. And then we've got 35 seconds, flaps 2. And we've got 45 seconds. Let's start our final turn. And this time we are not going to overshoot. Okay, let's start a shallow descent. Like a couple hundred feet a minute. Gear down, flaps 3.
Terrain ahead. Pull up.
No, we are not going to pull up. This is fully intentional, my friend.
Terrain ahead.
Right.
Pull up.
So,
Terrain
here
ahead.
we are.
Pull up.
Oh, come on. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. So, flaps full. A little bit high on the poppies right now, but we're still on base, so that is okay. Alright. 1 red, and that is 2 reds now.
1 dash.
Checked. A little bit low at the moment, correcting for that. That's what I meant. If you can look outside a bit easier, then the entire pattern becomes a lot easier to fly. Okay, so here we are. Let's resume our pitch. Like 2 degrees or so, I believe, here in the Phoenix. Okay. So, back onto the center line, and then let's see what things are gonna look like this time. Also, I want to try something. Let's reduce the speed a little bit here. Just below the VLS. So a couple of you have pointed out that the ground speed mini might be overreacting at the moment, and I want to rule that out. So let's go just above VLS. And look at that, that pitch looks better. So this should give us a much better result now.
50, 40, 30.
Okay, start the flare.
Retard.
Yeah, that is what I want it to look like.
5.
So that flare felt a lot better there. Okay, so spoilers, reverse green, and decel, manual brakes. 70 knots. Alright, so what can we figure from these two approaches? Well, the first one, we came in at a rather low pitch once again, somewhere in the region of about 2 degrees or so. Now, that once again caused us to overflare the plane a little bit, which apparently is correct if you were to approach at an attitude like this. Now, on the second one then, the airplane set a rather high approach speed there, and, well, that caused the pitch to be rather low again. So when we corrected that, when we manually took the speed back a couple knots above VLS, which is where the speed would normally be, obviously provided that ground speed mini doesn't increase it, but in this case we only had like, 6 knots of headwind, so maybe the ground speed mini increased the speed a little bit too much, and that caused the low pitch on the first one. Now you guys are certainly going to review that as the video is going to go up. So, well, it seems like the actual flare logic is correct now, because on the second one it went much better. To be fair, I overflared a little bit because I felt the onset at 30 feet and I thought like, whoa, this is really taking me nose down right now. So I pulled a little bit too much backstick that got us into a little float there. But that was purely on me and not on the airplane then. So, what can we figure from this? Well, if your approach speed is correct with a flap full landing, and ground speed mini might need to be looked at over here, because it did seem a little bit too high for me. But please go ahead in the stream and review the VLS and review what the airplane wanted to do out of that. And let's put it this way. If the pitch is correct, the airplane seems to flare correct. And the pitch is something that Phoenix will be working on and that they'll get more control of with the second block of the V2 update. So hopefully that is going to make the airplane a bit more enjoyable on the landing. In the meantime, I'll have to do a couple more circuits to verify, but I would say that my first impression over here is that if I reduce the speed to a reasonable amount, then we do get a good flare response as well. But that is just my first impression from these two landings. Now I'm looking forward to the experience that you guys have gathered in the meantime, and to what you guys think about how the airplane lands. Also, do let me know if you've got any Airbus experience and you think that my analysis on these two approaches is incorrect. As mentioned, I'm not a 320 pilot, I'm a 330 pilot, so things are a little bit different in the plane over here. Alright, that's going to be it, guys. So, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, do let me know in the comments below and let me know your feedback as well. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to a couple more traffic patterns, and I'm going to do a full flight with a 320 very soon as well, to see what all the other changes in the update have brought along. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.